You know I love me some Combat Compas. So let's get into Combat Compas. There was a lot going on over the weekend.
Yes, sir.
Gilbert, I saw you tweeted out you were excited. The much anticipated Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence welterweight fight is now officially official, as Jeff Miller would say via Ian Rappaport. They're set for their massive 4-belt unification
Woo.
on July 29th in Las Vegas. Gilbert, how excited are you for this?
Well, I'm gonna be real. There was mixed emotions, and like obviously everything leaks, and there was breaking news before that, and you start seeing the reports, and it's kind of like I don't believe it because we've been down this road before, especially with Spence. Like he had that fight with Pacquiao, and then like he got hurt and it fell through, and then we even saw it with Spence and Crawford. Like they're getting so close. They're about to meet the terms, and I don't know where Terence Crawford wanted more or whatever it was. I'm not trying to blame Crawford on that, but then they kept saying all the small details, all that's all we need, and then it fell through. And then it's kind of like what's gonna happen? Like Spence gonna have a different interim fight. He's gonna fight Keith Thurman. Crawford's gonna do whatever he's gonna do. And then I just didn't feel excited. And then when you hear Spence talk about it on IG, you hear Crawford talk about it. Both fighters have announced it, and but then you're kind of still a little mixed emotion because fighters are not the ones that make it official. It's the TV networks, the promoters, and then when you hear Showtime Boxing announce it, you hear PBC Premier Boxing Champions announce it, and I was like, okay, when is it? July 29th, Las Vegas. Then you got excited, but it was just I don't know if they you know what, I'm gonna be real. They overcooked this fight here. They took too long. I remember writing about in the Las Vegas Review Journal when there was a lot of buzz for this fight, and I want to say it was
Ooh.
2018. It's 5 years ago, and they're about to build the Legion Stadium. And I'm like, I know how these things play out. Like when there's a lot of buzz for a fight, it takes about 2 years to build it up. And I laid it down. I was like, you know what? Allegiant Stadium is going to open up in 2020. Let's have the first boxing fight be Spence Crawford, and then here we are in 2023. It did not happen. It won't be at the stadium because I don't think these guys are they're not household names like a Tank Davis or a Ryan Garcia. But if you know boxing, if you know the fight game, these are two of the best pound for pound boxers. Like they're way better than Tank and Ryan Garcia. To put it, I know Tank's really good, but when you talk about top 3, top 5, those two names come up. They're also in their 30s, so but I think we got it right on time. So I think it is overcooked, but overall, I'm not gonna complain too much. I know I love to complain. After you put all that aside and you feel like, oh, okay, this is a real deal. You get excited, and then you start thinking it's not even that long. Like July 29th is gonna come real quick. We're gonna have 4th of July mandatory mini camp in June, and here we go. Let's get it on.
So potentially, could this fight live up to the hype and be a contender for fight of the year?
Oh, definitely, because this is even 50-50 fight. And Fernando, like when the announcement came, I kept telling myself, I don't even know who to pick because I really like Crawford. He's slick, could beat you both sides, left, right. He's a vicious counter puncher, good combination. And then you think about Spence. Well, Spence is bigger. This guy's rugged. He'll he'll snatch your soul with the body punches. He'll take you to deep waters. So you're just kind of different styles, and that's the intriguing part. And they all do a little bit of everything. Like maybe Crawford is the better technician, but when you have the bigger size and Spence, like Spence, he comes at you and he just has a massive chin. Like if you're Crawford, you're thinking like, man, I'm chopping wood here. I can't bring this guy down. What does that do with your mindset? So I keep thinking about it all around, and maybe I don't have to do a pick right now, but that just tells you how 50-50 it is. And when it felt like with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, you had to convince yourself, yeah, you know what? Ryan Garcia has a fight. He has a chance because that's what you do when you try to hype up a fight and you convince yourself the other way. This one, you really have no idea what's going to happen. So it could be fight of the year. And like I mentioned, it's not Pacquiao Mayweather level of being overcooked. They're not even in the same realm when it comes to big names. Like I'm kind of curious to see will it do better than Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis because they're not the same kind of name. I think I'll get 1 million views. I mean buys because when you start hearing the whispers and the talk, the water cooler talk, like that's gonna be a legit fight of the century or whatever it is. You start buying. So we'll see what it does, but it will be, I think, maybe the fight of the last 5 years. I don't know.
Who has the advantage?
It's tough because with Spence, he's bigger. Like I was getting worried the fight won't happen because he's been prolonging the 147, and this guy should be at 150. He should be at 154. He could be at 160. I wouldn't even mind seeing this guy fight Canelo. That's how big he is. And then he keeps getting in car accidents or what he has some kind of off the ring issues, and you start wondering whatever happened. But he's not as skillful as Crawford, but Spence is he's such a good body puncher, great chin. He just really tests your will and your mental kind of strength. But then with Crawford, he's smaller, but that guy's he's a nasty dude, man. Like he'll take, like I mentioned, he'll take your soul and then he'll stomp on your heart. And like you're just two different mindsets. And I think Crawford is such a savvy technician. The thing with Crawford that kind of worries me, he hasn't been tested like with Spence because Crawford was always on the other side of town. He was at top rank, and top rank didn't have all the welterweights, and Spence was at PBC. They had a bunch of welterweights there. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. He was loaded. He's been tested, and he just knocked them all out. And Crawford, he embarrassed people, but he never had the competition level. But he passes the eye test, and I'm gonna lean Crawford because he's a technician, and everything that I'm giving credit for Spence, besides size, Crawford has it as well. Like he has great combinations, good defense, uh, good body punch, good power, good chin. So he is smaller, and maybe that might be a benefit because he's used to the weight class. Maybe like if you're too drained and you're tired and you're Spence, you've been trying to keep up the 147. That could really affect you on the fight night. So again, I really don't know where to go with this. But if I have to decide today, I think Crawford has a slight edge, and I should probably check the betting odds because it might be pretty even.
Last one for me. How historical is this match? I mean, could this match actually be? Because both guys are undefeated, like you said. They're both top fives. I mean, just how like this is a pretty unprecedented fight, don't you think? I mean, like if it lives up to the hype, it could be pretty good, no?
Yeah, the thing in boxing people always like to throw out is Hagler Hearns. Like it's gonna be that type of fight. It's gonna be a 3-round war, and it just never lives up to that. And I'm not gonna put that type of pressure on them, but because they're not even that kind of they're not really quick knockout orders. They'll just kind of pick you apart. So I'll just say this: I think it's gonna be better than Pacquiao, Mayweather, which everything was. They're even think about some of the old days, the good fights, the Gotti Ward, the Corrales, Chico fight. So think like it's gonna be a slugfest. It's gonna be a war, but not think about it as skillful fighters. You always get like kind of like the brawlers, and then you get the chess guys, but they have a little bit of both, and that's the thing that's really intriguing here. So I don't know where it's gonna stand, and I know people don't really know the names too well, but I think you should be really excited. And as you could tell my voice when it comes to kind of the head games, like we saw with Haney Lomachenko. Thank you, Victor. Shout out to you. Crawford minus 120. There you go. Maybe I know a thing or two. Crawford, and that's really pretty much a 50-50 fight. So minus 20 to the favorite Crawford there. So I think it's going to go the distance. They're going to hug it out at the end, and it's going to be a classic fight. You're going to remember or that you watch on ESPN Classic or YouTube later on in 10 years.
Interesting. Definitely. I'm sure you're like waiting until they get into the ring to actually be like, okay, this is actually happening.
Yeah, no injuries, please. Just and stay away from the cars, Spence, please.
There you go. Hire yourself a driver.
I would never
exactly.
drive if I was a millionaire.
Oh, neither would I. Floyd Mayweather. I'd just have somebody or be like what's the name? Buy a Bentley like oh my god, big dude. Oh my god, DJ Khaled. Just take the top off and just be chilling in the car in the back. Exactly. Like
I hate driving. I felt like Dan and Diego this weekend. I was driving everywhere, and I was wanting to just tell people get out of my way.